In 2020, Toyota stood in front of cameras and made a promise. The Tacoma, the truck that owns nearly half the midsize market, was leaving Texas for good, headed to a brand new plant in Baja California, Mexico. Toyota called it permanent, a clean, calculated, cost-driven consolidation. Case closed, they said. 6 years later, Toyota is quietly paying $3.6 billion to break that exact promise. No scandal forced it, no lawsuit, no recall. The company that built its reputation on never making the same mistake twice is now spending billions to undo a decision it only just finished making. That's the part that should stop you. Toyota doesn't do oops. So what actually happened behind closed doors that made the most disciplined automaker in the world reverse a strategy it defended as final just 6 years ago? Let's get into it. The king of trucks. For 2 decades, the Tacoma hasn't just competed in the mid-size truck segment, it's owned it. Buyers don't cross-shop it so much as default to it. It's the truck that gets handed down from father to son, the one you find with 300,000 miles on the odometer still running like it just left the lot. The one that laughs in the face of depreciation, while every other vehicle on the market bleeds value the second it's driven off the dealership. That reputation wasn't built on marketing. It was built on decades of buyers trusting that a Toyota truck simply does not quit. And for most of that reign, the smart move, the move every legacy automaker eventually made, was to chase cheaper labor south of the border. Mexico became the default answer. Lower costs, favorable trade terms, and a supply chain that had worked, more or less, for a generation. Every major player in this segment, at some point, made the same calculation. Build where labor is cheapest, ship north, protect the margins. It wasn't controversial, it was just how the business worked. Nobody expected the company that leaned into that formula hardest to be the one who ripped it up first. Toyota wasn't the automaker analysts were watching for a reversal. It was the one everyone assumed had the offshore playbook figured out better than anybody else.
Coming back to America. Here's what makes this move so jarring. Toyota has already done this dance once before, in the opposite direction. Back in 2020, Toyota made the calculated decision to shift all Tacoma production out of San Antonio and into Baja California, Mexico, freeing up the Texas plant to build the redesigned Tundra and bring Sequoia production in from Indiana. At the time, it looked like a clean, permanent, cost-driven consolidation. Case closed. Now, just a few years later, Toyota is reversing course and bringing the bulk of that production straight back to Texas. Not a token gesture, a full second assembly line, more than 2,000 new American jobs, and a plant that's set to roughly double in size by 2030. Toyota isn't trimming its Mexican footprint at the margins, it's undoing one of its own biggest manufacturing decisions of the last decade. In public, in real time. Think about what that actually means from a corporate standpoint. Every manufacturing relocation costs money: tooling, logistics, retraining, downtime. Toyota already paid that price once when it moved production to Baja California. Now it's paying a second, far larger price to partially undo it. No public company spends $3.6 billion reversing its own recent decision unless the ground underneath that decision has genuinely shifted. When a company reverses a strategy it only just finished executing, that's not routine housekeeping. That's a company responding to something that changed underneath it, and changed enough to justify eating the cost of doing it twice.
Why Toyota did it? So what changed? Not a quality scandal, not a factory covering up defects. The real trigger is colder and honestly a little more relatable than that. Money and the fear of losing customers over it.
Toyota's announcement landed just days after Washington confirmed it would not renew the trilateral USMCA pact with Mexico and Canada, opting instead for annual reviews, injecting fresh uncertainty into exactly the kind of cross-border manufacturing Toyota had bet its truck strategy on. Add rising tariffs on imported vehicles, steel, and aluminum into the mix, and Toyota was staring down a brutal math problem. Eat the tariff cost and watch margins bleed, or pass it on to buyers and raise the price of a truck people already feel is expensive enough. Neither option was acceptable on its own, because here's the trap Toyota was actually trying to avoid: asking an American buyer to pay more money for a truck that was also built outside the country. That's a two-front fight no automaker wants: a higher sticker price and a made-where question in the same breath. Building in Texas solves both problems at once. It protects the margin without needing to lean on the price tag, and it lets Toyota say the truck is built exactly where the buyer is standing when they sign the paperwork. That's the uncomfortable part critics are circling. For years, the entire industry treated offshore truck production as a permanent, unshakable cost advantage. Toyota's own $3.6 billion scramble to re-anchor its most important nameplate on U.S. soil is a quiet admission that the old formula was never as safe as everyone assumed, and that the customer relationship was more fragile than the balance sheet. When the rules of trade shift, even the king of trucks has to move. And this isn't a one-off gesture buried in a quarterly filing. Toyota had already flagged plans late last year to invest up to $10 billion in the United States over the next 5 years. This San Antonio expansion is the largest, most visible piece of that broader commitment so far, which tells you this isn't a company scrambling to patch one bad headline. It's a company recalibrating its entire North American footprint around a trade environment that no longer guarantees the old advantages will hold.
Detroit fights back. For Ford and General Motors, watching a rival reroute its flagship truck supply chain mid-decade looks like an opening. Both companies have spent years building their own domestic-first counterpunches: Ford with the Ranger and Maverick, GM with the Chevrolet Colorado and GMC Canyon, all assembled on U.S. soil, all positioned as the no-drama alternative while Toyota reshuffles its production map. The pitch from Detroit writes itself. Why gamble on a truck mid-transition when American rivals never left home in the first place? It's a real opportunity, and Detroit knows it. Ford and GM have spent years building the case that always domestic beats just went domestic, and a mid-transition Tacoma gives that pitch real teeth for the next 4 years while the shift plays out. But opportunity and execution are two different things. Toyota didn't announce this move from a position of panic. It announced it backed by that broader $10 billion U.S. investment commitment made just months earlier, and a plant that's been quietly expanding since a rear axle facility broke ground on the same campus this year. This isn't a company caught flat-footed. It's a company that saw the trade winds shifting and moved before it had to, while Ford and GM, for all their domestic-first messaging, are still exposed to their own cross-border supply chains for engines, transmissions, and components sourced well outside U.S. borders. The "we never left" pitch sounds clean in a commercial. It's messier once you look at the actual parts bins.
The Texas super plant. Here's the move that turns a defensive retreat into something closer to a trap. Instead of scattering resources trying to defend two separate manufacturing footprints across two countries, Toyota is doing the opposite, consolidating everything that matters into one place. San Antonio will now build the Tacoma, the Tundra, and the Sequoia hybrid all under one roof, all covered by 2,000 new jobs and 2.5 million additional square feet of manufacturing space. Total investment in that single campus since construction began, over $8 billion and climbing. While Ford and GM still run production networks with real cross-border exposure of their own, Toyota is building a version of vertical, domestic self-sufficiency for its biggest volume trucks that neither rival currently matches at this scale. Zero ocean freight, minimal cross-border tariff exposure, and a single campus that can flex capacity between 3 of its most important nameplates depending on which one is selling hardest that quarter.
What looks on the surface like Toyota reacting to pressure is, underneath, Toyota building the one kind of manufacturing footprint that trade uncertainty can't easily touch. There's also a labor and political dimension that shouldn't be overlooked. Texas offered real incentive support behind this expansion, and a 2,000-job commitment lands squarely in the kind of story state and federal officials are eager to champion right now. Toyota isn't just hedging against tariffs, it's positioning itself as the foreign automaker most aligned with the current push toward reshored American manufacturing, at a moment when that alignment carries real political and reputational weight.
Better trucks, fair prices. There's a tangible payoff for buyers in all of this, beyond the politics of trade policy. Bringing Tacoma production onto the same campus as the Tundra means shared tooling, shared engineering oversight, and a single management team accountable for quality across all 3 vehicles rolling off that line. Toyota's own framing leans hard into this: American workforce, American investment, American growth, deepening a commitment that already runs 8 figures deep on this one plant alone. For the person actually buying the truck, the practical upside is straightforward. Domestic production means shorter, simpler supply lines. Fewer border crossings mean fewer points where a shipment can stall. And as capacity ramps toward that extra 150,000 units a year, the kind of inventory shortages and dealer markup games that have frustrated Tacoma buyers for the past few years have a real shot at easing, as supply finally starts catching up to a demand curve that's been climbing hard. Tacoma sales jumped more than 40% in 2025 alone, and 2026 is already on pace to push past 300,000 units sold for the year, putting it within striking distance of full-size trucks that used to outsell it without much of a fight. That's the part dealers and buyers actually feel. Right now, when demand outruns supply on a hot-selling truck, the gap gets filled by markups, wait lists, and buyers settling for whatever trim happens to be on the lot instead of the one they actually wanted. A 150,000-unit capacity boost sitting on the same continent as the customer buying the truck is the kind of fix that shows up directly on the price sticker, not just in a corporate earnings call.
The hybrid secret. But the sheet metal isn't really the story. The real story is what Toyota is protecting by keeping this production close: its powertrain. San Antonio is the home of the iForce Max hybrid system and the TNGAF truck platform, the hardware underpinning Toyota's entire full-size and mid-size truck lineup. By anchoring Tacoma production on the same campus as its hybrid truck architecture, Toyota isn't just saving on shipping costs, it's protecting direct control over the one piece of technology it's betting its truck future on. That bet stands in sharp contrast to where much of the rest of the industry has been pouring its money: full electric truck programs that have faced slower than projected demand and repeated timeline pushbacks. Toyota, by comparison, is doubling down on hybrid power, strong towing numbers, no range anxiety, and the kind of mechanical simplicity that truck buyers have trusted for decades. While rivals wrestle with the pace of an EV transition that hasn't landed the way they hoped, Toyota is quietly consolidating the infrastructure behind the powertrain most truck buyers actually want right now. Put it together, and the San Antonio expansion stops looking like a story about where sheet metal gets stamped. It starts looking like Toyota protecting the one asset that actually matters long-term: the engineering and manufacturing know-how behind iForce Max and TNGAF, kept in-house on one campus under direct U.S. oversight, instead of split across 2 countries and 2 supply chains that trade policy could disrupt again at any point in the next decade.
Genius or big mistake? So which is it? There are 2 ways to read this. Theory 1, the Masterstroke. Toyota saw the trade landscape shifting years before the rest of the industry reacted and used the disruption as cover to build the most self-sufficient, tariff-resistant truck manufacturing footprint in North America, locking in a structural advantage that could carry it through the next 20 years. Theory 2, the reactive scramble. a company that bet big on offshore production, got caught flat by a trade policy shift it didn't see coming, and is now spending $3.6 billion just to undo a decision it made less than 6 years ago. Both readings can be true at the same time. What isn't in question is the outcome on the ground. For the first time in years, the truck that defined the midsize segment is coming home to be built alongside its bigger sibling on American soil under one roof. So here's the real question. Did Toyota just checkmate Detroit on its own turf, or is the most bulletproof truck maker in history finally running out of easy moves? Drop your take in the comments below. I read every single one of them. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss our daily breakdowns on automotive tech and market trends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.